Everyone, welcome. This is our CCA podcast. I'm Pastor Rossiter. I am joined today by Jill Pate. Thank you for joining me today. So Jill Pate is Creekside's middle school principal. So how long have you been at Creekside?
I've actually been at Creekside for almost 10 years now.
And you have had a lot of different roles since you have been here. So just tell us a couple of the roles that you have been in.
So I started at Creekside as the admissions director. I did that for 7 years. And then in the midst of all that, we started Pinot's Place and Cougar Cafe and all of those. Went back into the classroom for a year, teaching physical science and biology, and then became the middle school principal. Yeah, I know.
And you used to do all of the online store, right?
I did.
Nobody knew that.
Yep.
And they were like, who's running all of this?
Who's doing that? Yeah,
and you taught for a little while, and you taught science, right?
I did. Mm-hmm.
So, because you have a nursing background.
PA.
Yeah, sweet. And so love science, right?
Yeah, always. Especially anatomy and physiology. It's a lot of fun.
My wife teaching science
I know.
is hours of study.
Yeah, right.
Like,
I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, she does a good job.
Yeah. So before we get into some lighthearted, get to know you questions,
Okay.
just tell us a little bit about your family.
So I'm married to John Pate. I've been married to him for it'll be 25 years in September. We have 3 children. All 3 children have gone to Creekside. One graduated 3 years ago, and his name is Taylor, and he is in college in Indiana at Anderson University, working on his first year of nursing school. So that's super exciting and stressful, all the same little. And then Izzy, my daughter, she's a senior this year. She's 18 years old. She's going to be going to the other Anderson University in South Carolina. I don't know how I managed to get all my kids going to Anderson's. And then my son, Ethan, is 17, and he is a junior here at Creekside. So, yeah.
So he is involved in a nursing program, and both you and your husband involved in medicine.
Medicine, yeah.
So I'm sure there was some. Did he just come on his own?
Well, I think he kind of, I think the Lord really worked that more in his life than our influence on him. He's always had a heart for kids, and worked with them throughout his high school career, and then just realized that the most impact he could have would be in the medical field, being a pediatric nurse. So, yeah.
And Ethan is part of the chapel committee here, does a great job doing all the lights and everything for
he
chapel.
enjoys it.
He does a good job. So very asked questions all the time.
Always.
It's like, so tell me exactly what you want me to
That's
do.
right.
So that's it.
That's him. Yep.
All right, some just lighthearted, just some favorites.
Okay.
Favorite animal?
Horse.
Horse.
I actually owned horses for quite a while.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah, and they're just big puppy dogs in a lot of ways. A lot of people are scared of them, but
I'm one of those folks.
You don't have to be scared of a horse.
Yeah.
If you know how.
I know, but they say they can smell fear. And as a youth pastor, I was riding on a horse, and the ears were going straight back. They were like, "You're in trouble." He can tell that you're afraid.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how to get rid of the fear.
I only was ever bucked off once.
Yeah.
And but yes, we owned horses for a while, but yeah, they're my favorite.
Sweet. All right, favorite subject.
Science. I mean, obviously, biology, living science, those kinds of things are my sweet spot. Yeah.
Favorite meal.
Pizza.
Is it because it's easy, or just
No, it's just amazing.
So what?
Cheese and bread. What more is there to say?
So
right?
would it just be cheese, or would you put anything on it?
Usually, I just get a cheese pizza. Yeah, and load it up, man. Put as much cheese on there as you want.
Me and my wife had that discussion. I'm like, that is a waste.
Now I can eat the other kind, but just give me cheese pizza.
And I'm the meat lover. Just
Yeah,
throw
all the
all on
things,
there.
the whole kitchen sink.
Favorite Christian song right now?
Okay, so this is a hard one for me
because
I mean, there's a lot of them out there that are fantastic. One of the ones right now that I'm really into is "Good Plans" by Red Rock Worship. It's a great song. If you haven't heard it, go listen to it. Apple Music. And then let's see what's in it. "Deliver." It's an older song from 2020, but it's I think it's North Point Worship. Fantastic song. Yeah, they're on repeat.
One of your first devotions. It was my first year here, and random people did devotions, and you did devotion, and you came in, and you sang.
Yeah.
Because it was at the time Izzy was going through some things.
Yeah.
It's a song that meant something to you, so
did.
I won't forget that devotion. It's good. Favorite book of the Bible?
John.
It's good.
The book of John.
Favorite verse?
Philippians 4:4-6.
Yeah.
my dad was a pastor all my life, and that was the one family verse he had us memorize as a family. And it's just kind of carried me through everything. Do not be anxious about anything. Prayer and petition with thanksgiving. It's just, it just rolls around in my head on a pretty regular basis.
It's a tough one to live as a middle school principal. Be anxious for nothing.
Nothing, that's right.
Don't worry about anything.
Don't worry about anything.
That's good. So how long have you been middle school principal here?
3 years. Next year will be my 4th year. Yeah. Just like middle schoolers. They're fun.
Yeah, has good days.
Yeah,
they're sweet kids, and then the nasty comes out.
It's the name of the game, but the beauty of middle school kids is just that they're fun. They're fun. They have a lot of energy, and you just have to know how to teach them. Yeah.
Moldable.
Yeah, very moldable. Yep.
So tell me some things that middle school has been doing this year.
So, we're really focused in on making sure that students have a solid biblical worldview, and that kind of plays out in all the different classes. From math, they're God-made numbers, so they need to understand that biblical worldview even takes place in places where it doesn't make sense necessarily. So we've been spending a lot of time there. There are 4 pillars that I talk to families about for middle school. Number 1, we want our kids to know Jesus Christ first and foremost. We believe that once this gets settled, then this can their lives around them can start to settle a little bit. Not easy, but they start to see it from a different perspective. We also want them to have fun. So we got to focus on fun. They got to be able to play and use their hands in a classroom and do all the different things that kids need to understand the world around them is fun. And then also safe. We want them to feel safe. And that's not just a physical safety, but it's an emotional safety. So helping them understand that we're here to listen, to intervene when we need to. Because if those things aren't kind of taking place in their lives, then they can't learn. And learn is the 4th pillar. We want them to learn. So, yeah.
We get to do those here at Creekside with Christ as the center of all of that.
That's exactly right.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful thing.
So what would you say has been your focus for the middle school this year?
So you can see it actually right behind us. I really came away from last school year looking at MAP scores and really having a burden for our kids in the reading world. So our focus this year in middle school has been to really push reading hard. We're doing Dear Time every week. Dear Time, drop everything and read. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of pushed it out there. It's kind of like pushing the boat out. All right, we're going to see if this works, right? And it wasn't necessarily just because of the MAP scores, but I sensed that the kids their creativity in the world was a little stifled. So we started the reading initiative, and I am happy to say that it has done wonders for quite a few of our students, even at their own surprise. They're looking at their MAP scores going, oh my goodness, wow, okay, well, all right. And then the second thing that we've really been working at is reading and writing. I know that sounds like such a cliche answer for a school, but you would be surprised how sometimes those things get pushed to the back burner because there's so many other initiatives that have to take place. So our kids are writing, they're writing well, they're using their creativity, and that is all. And what's beautiful about those 2 initiatives especially is that even in science and even in math, even though they're not necessarily related, there are things in their brains that work better when they're doing those things. So, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what's some of the amazing highlights that you have from middle school?
Yeah. So as I said, our MAP scores did come up. I think the kids even surprised themselves a little on that front. We did have a bunch of retreats. So each grade level was able to participate in a retreat. 6th grade, they did a 1-day retreat. 'Cause they're still learning. They're still learning, trying to figure out what all that means. And then in in 7th and 8th grade, they go together for their retreat. So that was huge, and we're super excited about that. And then History Night. If you haven't come to History Night, you need to come to History Night. Even if your kid doesn't come here or doesn't attend school here, History Night is huge. That was led by our own Mr. Capps in our 8th grade history. So that is just something that is each class grade level participates in. They have their own projects, and it's just a great night. Now, lastly, we're getting ready to go to DC. So that's coming up. We take our 8th graders to DC, Washington, DC. But what I love about that trip is that it gets them out of their context. And it also, we don't just do DC. We do all the battlefields in Virginia, giving them kind of a glimpse of Civil War history, and then we dump right into DC. So it's coming. We go there in 2 weeks. So yeah, it's exciting.
Speaking of the retreats, we've had, I would say this year about 5 to 8 middle schoolers accept Jesus Christ as their personal Savior.
Yes.
So awesome.
And probably more than that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of kids will make those kinds of decisions and then they kind of sit on, just kind of watch it and see what happens. So we're deep into discipleship with those students and trying to make sure that we support them. Yeah.
So how would you tell parents that they can get involved in helping their kids coming alongside Creekside?
Well, prayer. I often joke that middle school is one of the things that you tend to forget about as an adult because it's just so hard. 7th grade in particular, for whatever reason, seems to be the hardest spot for a lot of kids. So just praying for our kids and their parents. Again, it's a scary, kind of overwhelming time in a student's life. So just a general prayer for our students and their parents. The parents sometimes kind of look at me and go, I don't know this kid anymore. My kid has changed so much and I don't know them anymore and I don't understand what's happening. So prayer for them just for peace, that they have them in the right spot, that everything is normal, they're not abnormal, and then just prayer for the staff as they support them and walk them through that. We do a very special thing in the middle school at Creekside called the merit parties. Merit, they can accumulate 6 merits, and that's things that the teachers have seen them do that are above and beyond. And it really helps us to engage the students in the behavior process, because it is a process, right? We want to get them out of the fear of always being in trouble into, okay, how do I exemplify who God has made me? And then give our teachers the tools to really point those things out for them. So merit parties is a great way to support us, either by donations or coming and sponsoring one. I do them once a month. So every month, if a card comes to me that's filled up, that student gets an invitation to come to the merit party. It's a prized possession. And this is our 2nd year on it. And it just really helps the students see that from a different perspective. And then books. We need books. Our library is a baby library. The kids go 2 or 3 times a week. But we can always use more. Any books that are brand new or gently used will be really, really helpful. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Pate, for taking the time. And I know you're busy as middle school principal.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And just speaking, Ms. Pate does a great job in a vital age of our kids' middle school. She does an awesome job. So just be praying for Ms. Pate. And we do need books. I see the library needs to grow. But thank you again for taking the time.
Of course. It was my pleasure.
And you guys have a great day.